It's the automation mistake that breaks small teams. Most small teams do not break because they lack automation. They break because they automate before they understand the work. At first, automation feels like progress. A workflow moves a lead into a CRM. A message gets sent automatically. A task is created in a project board. A file is copied into the right folder. A notification reaches the team. Everything looks faster. But speed is not the same as reliability. After a few weeks, the team starts to feel the hidden cost. Someone does not know who owns the result. Someone changes a process and forgets to update the automation. A customer receives the wrong message. A workflow runs twice. A task is marked complete, but nobody checks whether the outcome was correct. A failure happens quietly, and the team discovers it too late. This is the automation mistake that breaks small teams. They automate movement before they design responsibility. Automation can move information, it can trigger actions, it can connect tools, it can reduce manual effort. But automation cannot create ownership by itself. If nobody owns the outcome, automation only moves confusion faster. If nobody owns the recovery path, automation only hides failure longer. If nobody owns the standard, automation repeats weak work at scale. This is why bad automation creates more work, not immediately, not visibly, but quietly. The team now has to remember how the workflow works. Someone has to maintain it, someone has to debug it, someone has to explain it, someone has to check if it still matches the real process. That hidden work is automation debt. And small teams are especially vulnerable to it because they have fewer people, fewer backups, and less time to investigate silent failures. So what should small teams do instead? The answer is not to avoid automation. The answer is to put automation in the right order. The wrong order is tool, workflow, automation, scale. The correct order is owner, process, standard, signal, recovery, then automation. First, define the owner. Who owns the outcome when the automation runs? Who is responsible if the output is wrong? Who decides when the workflow should change? This cannot be vague. A workflow without an owner is not leverage. It is an unattended machine. Second, define the process. Before automating a process, the team must be able to explain it manually. What starts the process? What information is needed? What decision happens next? What output should exist at the end? If the manual process is unclear, the automated version will be fragile. Automation does not fix confusion, it preserves it. Third, define the standard. What does success look like? A message sent is not always a successful outcome. A task created is not always useful. A file generated is not always correct. A notification delivered is not proof that the work was done well. The standard must describe the result, not just the action. Fourth, define the signal. How will the team know that the automation is healthy? A workflow that ran is not the same as a workflow that worked. Small teams need simple signals. Was the output created? Was it sent to the right place? Did the owner receive it? Was the data complete? Did anything fail? Was the failure visible? Without signals, automation becomes invisible risk. Fifth, define the recovery path. Every important automation needs an answer to one question. What happens when this fails? Who gets alerted? What gets logged? What gets retried? What gets paused? What needs human review? If there is no recovery path, the team is not building automation. It is building dependency. Only after those 5 pieces are clear should the team automate. This is the difference between good automation and bad automation. Bad automation says, how can we make this task run without a person? Good automation asks, what outcome do we need to protect and what part of it can safely be automated? That difference matters, because small teams do not need more moving parts. They need fewer fragile dependencies. They need systems that reduce burden, not systems that create hidden maintenance. A useful rule is this: never automate a process you cannot explain manually. If you cannot explain the process, you cannot protect it. If you cannot protect it, you should not scale it. If you should not scale it, you should not automate it yet. Before your next automation, ask 4 questions. Who owns this outcome? What does success look like? How will we know if it fails? What happens next when it does? If the answers are unclear, stop. Do not add another tool. Do not build another workflow. Do not connect another app. Design the operating logic first, then automate the stable part. That is how small teams get leverage without creating chaos. Less noise, better systems.